There you are. Hello, everybody. Can you see me now? I've been trying to get on. Can you see me, Katerina? Are you there? Small wildflowers. Hello, anybody there? I'm trying to, I'm kind of waiting here. I see that 4 people in the room. Can you see me, everybody? Anybody there? Oh, good. Oh, Michelle, fabulous. Both my Michelles. Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you, Small. Okay, so I opened this originally in Safari. I'm still brain dead. Mercury retrograde. Geez Louise. So I apologize getting the my mojo here on my channel. So let me officially welcome you all. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner. I'm an intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And each week we're coming here together live at 11 a.m. Pacific time to get the angels' advice for traversing the astrological transits coming up. And tomorrow we have a new moon in Aquarius, which I think is super interesting. And yesterday Venus went retrograde. Went direct. So yay that. Yay for Venus. We'll see her finally get out of Capricorn. That'll make her happy. We may have a little bit of excitement before she actually leaves Capricorn, but we'll talk about that in the coming weeks. Let's talk about the new moon first. New moon in Aquarius is really, it seems to be a theme for me that's a continuation of what we've been talking about since last year with that Saturn-Uranus square. And this particular new moon is it's at 12 degrees, and it's making a square to Uranus, which is at 10 degrees Taurus. So I'm thinking about this, and, I just kind of play with all the different schools of thought that I've learned. So the 12th degree is the Piscean degree. We have all been going through a restructuring of our beliefs, of our how we go about our lives. Uranus is sitting here trying to liberate us from old structures that no longer serve us. And this new moon feels like, while it's making a very tense square to Uranus, it's really asking us once more to dig deeper into how we feel about the structure of our lives. And Saturn is at 15 degrees Aquarius. So it's making a conjunction to this moon. And when I'm listening to other people, they talk about Saturn being restrictive and depressing and, feeling really limited. And while all of that is true, if you're experiencing that, I think it's because it's asking you to go to the deeper truth of what it is you really want to be liberated from. So we have this idea that the rulers of Aquarius are making, again, tense aspects to a new moon, which is my opportunity to plant new seeds in the dark of night with the faith that if I'm authentic to my truth, and this is what the whole change in the axis of the nodes is about, I think this is going to be really powerful. So yes, we can talk about expect the unexpected, and that's absolutely at this point to be expected. But I think it's also about looking at ourselves and deciding if we're going to jump onto the bandwagon of the lower vibrations of Saturn and feel restricted and feel limited and feel hopeless and depressed about life, or are we going to get a little bit electric and put a lightning bolt through that idea and say, you know what, this is just pushing me up against what my deepest beliefs are and what I want to experience, and how I can actually be proactive and a co-creator within my own life. So I'm saying that because while I think the tension is valid, I also think that if we ask ourselves the deeper questions, that we will go into a situation that really empowers us in the long run. I've been watching this show on the New Magnolia Network called The Lost Kitchen. And it's this woman who has had a roller coaster ride of challenges in her life. And she's literally talking about how each one of those really scary places and challenges actually brought her into a place of much more fulfillment, much more authenticity in what she was living within her own life. And that's what I think this Aquarius new moon is all about. So that's what I wanted to talk about. If you are, and I want to offer this as a remedy for the week. I know Mercury is in retrograde, but Uranus is the higher vibration of Mercury. And I want to offer the idea that if you're feeling anxious this week, or you're having like free floating anxiety, because, intuitive people will feel the vibrations, not just their own, but the ripple effect. When you do your meditations, put a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen by you, not your computer, but the old fashioned, kind of earthy Taurus, Uranus and Taurus, using things made of the earth, and allow yourself to sort of have a free flowing thought process as you come to the end of your meditation. It's almost this allowing your guides to inspire your own thoughts, so you can start to really build a language with them, and to put your intention into the idea that this is not about being good or bad at something. It's about a journey. It's about going into space, for lack of a better term, or the space of connection with your guides and your angels, so they can see you through whatever Saturnian structures will break down in order for you to live the more Uranian aspects of your life, the liberation, the idea of going somewhere that's more closely related to your heart's desires. We have to remember that Aquarius rules hopes and desires and the ability to make our own money. It's a wealth house. So when we think about the nodes traversing the houses of other people's money, Scorpio, and the second house of Taurus, how I use my skills to make money. So there we go. I hope that all made sense, because I want you to I don't want you to brace for these things in sort of a scary way. I want you to kind of put a big intention bubble out there to understand that whatever unexpected disruption shows up is leaving a pathway to your dreams. And that's why I brought up that show. So again, I want to welcome everybody here. Juan, I'm glad you made it. I had a little trouble getting in. I started the live stream on Safari. That was my boo-boo. I need to do it on Chrome, which is why I haven't live streamed on my channel for a long time. So we are going to go into our readings. And was there something else that I wanted to mention? I'm trying to think. I don't think so. Okay, so let's go into our readings. What we're going to do is start with Pisces like we always do and go down to Aries. I do this because, I just feel like the balance. Every single astrologer starts with Aries all the time. So thanks to our wonderful Juan, we have timestamps expeditiously in the comments. So if you get impatient with the idea that I go backwards, Juan will be putting the timestamps and you can just click on that. Okay, and also, again, here's my rebellious, I'm just so rebellious. I really believe that your moon and your rising sign are co-creators, okay? One is not more influential than the other, because no matter your perception, your emotional body will dictate what that perception looks like in any given day. Emotions are like hormones. They go up, they go down, they go around all over the place. So to think that your perception and the way you project yourself out into the world, the sun, is the most influential, to me feels foolhardy, and it feels very Saturnian. It feels like if you really look at the commercials on TV and all the depression meds, those are the people that are having trouble following their true north. And they're somewhere stuck in a herd of expectation and obligation. So I really want to encourage you to look at that moon. because, especially if you're an Aquarius new moon, because, this could be a very liberating time to start new things. And I want to offer it this way. It's not about bursting into action. It's about being very aware of your being energy. Hello, your emotional body. Before you go into your action, that could be your rising sign. Before you manifest, that would be your sun, and people in the outside world can see it. The being energy, your moon. What do you believe? What is your disposition? What is your attitude as you embark upon your endeavors? Okay, so here we go. Juan has gotten to know me. He's watched my patterns. He can predict how long I will do each sign within a few milliseconds. It's kind of funny. Not funny. I think it's fabulous, but I mean, it's kind of funny how we're all creatures of habits. Okay, here we go. Pisces, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Now, I want to bring this up too, because this Aquarius new moon is at the 12th degree, the Piscean degree. So this is really, to me, going to give me an opportunity to see how am I taking the aspects of my own Piscean energy, and how am I allowing myself to liberate them? How am I allowing myself to take them out of this isolated house of the bedroom, the research lab, and actually project it into the world? So let's see. Our first angel is Merlina. The second is Oceana. The third is Fiona, and the second is Xana. All right. Merlina is being joined by the owl. Very interesting. Oceana is being joined by the frog. Fiona is being joined by the communications card. And Xana is being joined by the truth. I find it so interesting sometimes how we are nervous of our truths. We're nervous of what's important to us. We're afraid if we tell somebody something that's of a deep truth, that it's not going to come to fruition, or they're not going to agree with the idea or whatever. Because when I look at Pisces and I see Merlina, which talks about confusion and indecision, I feel like I'm dropping on the side of indecision, because I really got this yin and yang sign kind of pulsating at me. That this is like the fish, right? Here's this new moon in the 12th house, or at the 12th degree, which is your degree. So how can you liberate yourself from going back and forth between your Piscean mutable energy that wants to really work and be cooperative others, and at the same time allow yourself to swim up through the desires of your own heart towards your soul's calling? And then we have the frog, which represents emotional cleanup, which represents the cleaning of the house of the mind. And where I was going with the sharing of our truth is sometimes when we share our truth, we actually find that what we had anticipated would happen does not, and that people can be in agreement with us. And even if they're not in agreement with us, if we can present in a way that's balanced, they can appreciate our truth. Because in the angel's advice is Fiona talking about the communications card, or Fiona is saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And this is about God's communication to you, the angels' communication to you, your own inner knowing. What I was talking about at the beginning of the video, where I think this new moon would really serve everybody after their meditations. I don't care if they're 2 minutes long, to just take notes a little bit. If you see symbols or colors come to you, or whatever the impressions you get are, because I think this will help you understand that your confusion is really deciding whether or not other people will be act in a favorable way to your truth, and how you want to start to direct your life. Because in the final position is Xana saying that you're being protected. And then here's the truth card. You know what I love about this breaking down of the last 2 years is the structural dynamics that we had been purporting for decades were really not working. I mean, there's no use to driving somewhere 40 hours a week anymore. There's so much technology that had happened, that it was kind of time for Zoom and this idea of remote working and sort of this balancing between being somewhere and then being at home. So I want to offer for my Pisces, I think that this is a week where it's important for you to be in communication with God and the angels. I think it's important for you to allow yourself an ebb and a flow. I almost feel like if you asked your guides a question like, if I were to follow my truth and if I were to start to give life to birthing what I want, will I be successful? How is my vibration? And then allow these random things to come to you. You know, you at first it may feel a little stuttered. You may be seeking and looking for something. But if you do this, say, every day for a week, your resistance to trying to figure it out and the flow will start to come, because that's naturally Pisces. And I feel like this will help you align to what you will birth in this new moon. And this new moon will reveal some sort of fork in the road or the next natural chapters about 6 months from now when we get the full moon in Aquarius. So I really want to offer that. You may feel a little indecisive or weird, but it's probably because you're in your head. I think that, the idea of a Mercury retrograde, again, our thoughts are revisiting all the things that we know. And then this Uranus square can also be this sort of idea of Mercury on steroids, where we're just really feeling anxious about what we're thinking. And the more anxious we're feeling, the more I feel that it's important to go deeper into the heart, because the anxiety is usually when I'm moving in a direction that somebody else wants me to go in, or what I think other people will agree with. All right, let's go on to our Aquariuses, and this is your moon. I also can't help but notice as I start to talk about Aquarius that the Saturn degree, the conjunction of Saturn with this new moon is at 15 degrees. That's the Gemini degree. Again, the degree of thought. I really think this new moon is an opportunity to liberate ourselves from some old structural thoughts, or allow ourselves epiphanies about our habits so we can plant the seeds of something that we feel is more fertile for this next chapter. And I also want to offer this because if any of you are doing like releasing ceremonies, there's a weird resistance to the idea of releasing. I want to offer the idea of incorporating a challenging experience so that you can look at the gifts it has to hold. It's very Chiron. Chiron is the wound and the gift. So if you're having any of that going on, dig a little deeper. All right, Aquarius, here we go. Welcome to everybody. CJD, welcome. I said good morning to Small Wildfires. Shelly. Who else? I think I missed somebody. I said hi to Michelle. I'm going to say hi quickly. Who did I get? Okay. There's Shelly. Yeah. All right. I said hi to everybody. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, how funny, CJD. I love that. Okay. Aquarius, our first angel is Xana, the angel of protection. The second is Layla. The third is Adriana. And the final is Sonia. I was thinking a lot about, the United States chart this week. Hi, Joshua. And how it is, the Pluto return is going to trigger a whole stellium of planets in the 8th house of Cancer for the United States. And while it sounds super kind of scary at first, Spirit has shown me really this dynamic where even throughout our history, the human focuses in on the most negative side of each situation. So, for instance, during the Civil War, there were obviously slaves, but there were a whole group of souls incarnated in the African American experience that were free. and thriving and continue to do that all the way back into the 1700s. So I don't want to negate the atrocities of slavery, but what I'm trying to say is that as a tribe, we can represent the higher vibrations of what's to be offered as we stay connected to our higher vibrations and to our team on the other side, so that we can represent the balance. So while many people may find this new moon very jarring and the structures of their lives seem to blow up out of nowhere, we can hold the wisdom of, if indeed it blows up, there's a bigger opportunity coming. When I was initiated as a Reiki master, the 2 days later, I got laid off of my job and my whole world blew up. I had been living in Orange County just not long at all, so I had no resources here. And I was so angry at my Reiki master, I went back and bitched him out and said, "What'd you do to me?" And he said to me, "Get off your pity party and start owning who you really are." Didn't make me feel any better at the time, but boy, was he right. And so now in hindsight, I pray for him and I thank him for that. So here we go, Aquarius. Xana is being joined by the disruption card. Layla's being joined by the partnership card. Adriana's being joined by the burden card. And Sonia's being joined by the water fairy. So there's a reason why I tell these stories in between. I never know quite why, but there's always a reason. So I'm talking about disruption, and here we go. Disruption is the doorway to your dreams sometimes. So if indeed you find this new moon creates an unexpected challenge or what appears to be a challenge, let's start to think of that as an opportunity to move you out of a fear ball. Somewhere where you thought that something was serving you, like paying your bills, but it really wasn't. Because Xana is telling you that all types of harm are behind you. So that disruption to me feels like it's almost as if your oversoul is taking the lead where your personality has been afraid, because now is a time for you to truly set your intentions with God and the angels and to become in partnership with them. Because as a human, we tend to think if we don't take action, because we're trained to take action, that our dreams won't come true. And more often, if we really think about the laws of attraction, the law of allowing, and the laws of the universe, it's about establishing the vision of what we want, looking at what we really believe about it, aligning our belief, and then taking our action. Because Aquarius, whether you realize it or not, if your life is having a big challenge, you are being led to a bigger story, which is why I brought up that woman who started the restaurant, The Lost Kitchen. She came from a small town in Maine, spent her youth trying to escape her small town for bigger things, only to end up coming home. And I think the town of freedom itself is so ironic. And then opening this really amazing energy that's not just about a restaurant, but about an experience. Because I feel like Aquarius, here's Sonia that represents a deceased loved one, but I think this is your team of heavenly hosts. And here's the connection through the water fairy. And I think this new moon is going to open you up to an even more tangible connection with your guides and your angels. And I want to go back to the idea of that automatic writing after your meditations, to start the dialogue, to go and walk a little bit through the stuttered part where you think you're talking to yourself, and then allow it to relax so you can really feel their embrace and their guidance. I tend to think something might happen with something in your structure, Aquarius, something that you think you've been holding on to. And I kind of tend to think about a job. So if indeed you hear swirlings around you, try not to freak out, because Aquarius, you could have a little bit of anxiety about it. But it's not always easy to get around. I've got Uranus floating on my moon, so I have these weird balls of free floating anxiety all the time lately, and I never used to have anxiety. All right, let's go on to our Capricorns, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. Welcome, Janine. I hope I said hi to you. I missed name. Joshua, I said hi to you. Okay, yeah. All right, here we go. And I said hi to Cece Pups. Okay. All right, everybody. Here we go. Capricorn. You have a stellium going on in Capricorn right now. Venus is still there. We have Pluto there. Mercury's retrograde there. What else is going on there? I remember thinking, oh my goodness. Let me look really quick at my little. Oh no, that was not. Yeah. So we have Mars has just entered Capricorn. Venus is going now direct. The moon for some. Oh, am I looking at this? Isn't right. Well, forget the moon part because I must have it on the wrong day. So I'm going to talk about because I have it on today, and the new moon is tomorrow. Sorry, guys. So, but the stellium is Mercury retrograde, Pluto is still in Capricorn, Venus and Mars. And this is super important because as Venus and Mars start to approach Pluto, this is going to be very transformational. And I want to offer it in a way where if the unconscious people are, if you're in a bad relationship and you lose your marbles, it could get to be very, very physical that day. I wouldn't go there. But if you're a conscious person, you can really use Venus's opportunity to look at what you believe about yourself, look at your self-worth, and take action and allow the transformation to let whatever isn't working, whatever toxic waste is in your life, thank you, Pluto, to out the backside. Oops. Okay, so here we go. There's a real kind of push-pull between this feeling like the old ways are secure, but they're not. It's like a house. If you were really looked at the foundation, there's parts where there's rot and they need to be replaced so that the water can't get in and make more rot. All right, Capricorn. Our first angel is Seraphina. The second is Layla. The third is Indriel, and the final is Isaiah. Seraphina is being joined by the letting go card. Layla's being joined by the restriction card. Indriel's being joined by the truth. And Isaiah is being joined by the focus card. This is very interesting to me. Okay. For a while now, you guys that have watched me know that I've been talking about Capricorn going from the old goat to the baby goat, right? Much more pleasant and more fun. And I think, we all have a committee inside our heads, I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember the old TV show Herman's Head, but we all have a committee in here. So for Capricorn, Seraphina is talking about a happy change to your family. I don't know that I think this is a family. It could be your actual family, but I want to offer the committee in your head because we know about the letting go card is for me, it's the song from the movie Frozen, Let It Go. It's funny how some distance makes everything look small. And the fears, Capricorn, Saturn rules fears that controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do. That's fear. Face everything and rise. Because when you get there, you'll realize there's false evidence appearing real. This is the world ripple effect of what's going to go on here in my country feels like it could be very, very jarring, and we could get triggered into this place of feeling very insecure. So here now I'm seeing this restriction card, and again, it's coming up Saturnian for me, but it's about being diligent and stoic in staying aligned to spirit with my intentions, not with what I see on the TV, not with what I hear from my neighbors, but what my intention is. Because we as a collective are a group of souls that are not without our challenges, but we are within those challenges willing to see how they take away the lies we tell ourselves and offer us a deeper truth to experience in the 3D world. This is why I went back to history, almost where when we talk about slave times, and I don't want to negate how awful slavery is, but I really want to say how wonderful it is that there were people of color who were thriving, who were homeowners, who can be traced in the census when others were just treated like cattle, like property. And I want to start to represent the balance so that we can really bring into this dynamic the idea that the dark serves the light and the light serves the dark. Because Capricorn, you're being illuminated to a deeper truth. And that deeper truth is the higher vibrations of Saturn. Saturn no longer wants to eat his children, Cronus, and no longer really wants to just beat you down. Saturn wants you to pick the lane you love. And then Saturn will hold your feet to it. It's kind of like a coach in the Olympics, you know? You said you want to get a gold medal. Well, I'm here to make sure you get that gold medal. That's what I want you to think of Saturn. So when Saturn is conjunct this new moon, this is an opportunity for you to really look at the structures that aren't working and then to focus in on the new. How will it feel as I stand in a more easy place, in a place that flows? Let's look at our verbiage here as well, right? Because we don't need to have the answer. And Capricorn may think you need to have definitive answer. I need to say to Spirit, A, B, C, in order for it to come true. I want to offer this to you. How about if you focus in on just allowing your ease and your flow and your true heart's desire to come to you. And then you stay stoically in that Saturnian energy that you do so well in your connection to Spirit. So Spirit can start to give you evidence that your illuminations are true and that you will start to experience them as you continue your razor focus, which you are so good at. Love it. I don't really feel like a Pollyanna in my real world. I feel like a little bit of a cynic and a little bit of a crankmeister because I am Aries rising, okay? But I really don't believe in all this doom and gloom all the time. And while I appreciate so many astrologers, I'm so tired of everybody being like, oh, something bad's going to happen. Most of the time when something bad happened to me, it completely liberated me from something else. When I lost everything I own in 2003, not only was I liberated and able to move to Laguna Beach, I had a huge realization that I was so annoyed with my life that for like 2 years before that, I'd been saying to Spirit, I just want to wipe the slate clean and start over. And I wasn't saying it from a happy place. I was saying it from discontent. I just want to wipe the slate clean and start over. I just want to wipe the slate clean and start over. Then I moved to North Carolina thinking I'm starting over, and that's a nightmare. I moved back home and I wiped out everything. This is now the second time in my life that I have been repeating some sort of mantra from this place of discontent that then actually manifested so I could see my thoughts. Now, am I going to be critical of those thoughts? No, the human is conditioned to think from the dark side, okay, from the time we're born. So as I noticed it, then I just subtly shift. So I'm really not trying to be overly Pollyanna or syrupy. I'm just saying if we align, the experiences will come. They will. It's universal law. Small, I want to say I too have this initial reaction to things, but the reaction is illuminating a habitual way of feeling that isn't even true anymore. It's just like this habit of emotion that I have. We don't even think that we have habitual emotions. We think so small as humans, honestly. And we judge. I don't even know who told us we were supposed to be perfect. It seems like the most absurd. This is the best playground to be flawed in the world, in the universe, in the multiple galaxies. Yes, I do, Joshua. You live in Oceanside? Well, congratulations. What a beautiful place to live. I love Oceanside. It's so chill. Okay, we're going on to our Sagittariuses. Okay, here we go. Mystique is our first angel. The second is Maya. The third is Layla. And the final is Grace and Antoinette. I just couldn't help but see as I started Sagittarius, thinking about how Jupiter is transiting through Pisces right now, and it's heading towards Neptune. And when the two come together, super magical. Could also be a little scary too, depending upon your vibration. Meaning, when I say your vibration, I'm talking about your perception. I'm talking about, your mantra. I see people all the time who actually think if they dare the universe, oh, I'm so unlucky. I'm so unlucky. They think if they dare the universe is going to bring them luck. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, so Mystique is working with Sagittarius on their perception, which is your belief. Maya is being joined by the Grail Knight. Layla's being joined by the Protection card. And Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Birth and the Rebirth card. Okay. So I want to say this for my Sagittarius. Is Mystique is always, you guys know this, Gloria Estefan's coming out of the dark and into the light. And I want to offer this because I think for Sagittarius, the coming into the light is really understanding how the dark served, how the dark illuminated, how the dark empowered. When I was watching this woman, I think her name is Erin French, and I saw so much of myself in her. I'm more service oriented. Her restaurant is product oriented. But when I look back on my life and some of the most devastating times, and you guys know that Pluto was transiting all my personal planets except for the moon, but my whole chart throughout my whole life, each one of those things started to feel like a master class to me as I look back on it, where I had so many choices to choose victory or victimhood. And I think my South Node in Aries in the 12th house makes me feel a little bit like I might have chosen victimhood in the past life, and now I'm choosing victory. Because the Grail Knight, and I'm saying this for Sagittarius, is giving you an education in your deepest truth, as it is for everybody. But what I think right now is this is again going back to understanding how sometimes discomfort brings comfort. Sometimes when we get so far down the well, we're like, well, then it doesn't matter. I got nothing to lose. I might as well go for it. And that's how I ended up in Laguna Beach. I was like, you know what, Spirit? I got nothing. I'd lost everything I own. I was working. At the time when I started being cranky, I didn't even have a job. And I said, you know what? I want you to make it so. I was like pretending I was Picard from Star Trek. Make it so, number one, because I really need you in some ways to go to Spirit and know that you're being protected and talk about this intention with more behind it, with a little bit more passion behind it. When I actually found my apartment, okay, I never thought in my logical mind I could afford to live here. I was living with my brother-in-law's mother in Newport Beach in her extra bedroom with a litter box and my two cats all sequestered because she was scared of cats. I mean, it was so miserable. I was in my 40s, early 40s. It was so humiliating. And yet at the same time, that rock bottom, because Pluto's coming up with Venus and Mars, that rock bottom was a total rise in everything. I said to Spirit, I want to live in Laguna Beach. And then they prompted me to work in a bakery through this weird feeling as I was walking down the street to go try to get a job. I'm telling you these stories because you guys, you're going to have to invite in with a big willingness to see beyond the situation. Because I think in many ways, as I said, your real intention is being protected of what you want to experience. And now it's about compassion for yourself as you go through a complete rebirth. All my life, I said I wanted to help people, empower them. I wanted to work with the tarot. I was totally into spirituality from the time I can even remember. When I was a little kid, I used to think God was sending me messages through the clouds. So my willingness to have compassion as I went through these really devastating times when other people's lives looked like they were going on track. It was all a bigger picture that I couldn't see. So Sagittarius, I really hope that you'll be gentle with yourself during this new moon, during this week coming up, and through this process over the next 6 months as something is illuminated for you in a really big way. And it directs you into a more intentional new beginning for yourself, where it is something that you actually, through that intention, you will teach others. That's where I'm going. Okay. Let's go on to our Scorpios, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. If you have a stellium in Scorpio, pay attention to that south node because it's going to be hitting all those points. And I don't want you to think that you're going to lose your money or you're going to lose your mind. I think that the south node, again, in the past lives, it represents what we're used to. And if indeed it's going through Scorpio now, the planets will be, where are you giving up your power to another? Where are you, if it's Mercury, you could be giving up, thinking what other people think about you. I kind of want to broaden this a little bit so you can start to look at Scorpio as you walk through this South Node transit, and you're being egoless to the opinion of others about your own happiness. That's what I'm talking about. Hope it made sense. Here we go. Oh, Shelley. Oh, no. I hope your knee's better soon. Did you fall? Okay. Scorpio. Our first angel is Opal. The second is Merlina. The third is Maya. And the final is Shanti. Scorpio. The butterfly is joining Opal. Merlina is joined by the protection card. Maya is being joined by the disruption card. And Shanti is being joined by the death card. Total transformation. And this is, this new moon covers, a 6-month period, but we know perfectly well with the nodes on this axis of Scorpio and Taurus, it is an opportunity for a new beginning. And I think this is really where the digging the deep, I always kind of see Columbo when I think of Scorpio and this sort of inner knowing he had as he would pose these, what appeared to be kind of stupid questions to the villains. And yet he would read so much underneath it, because I feel as if Scorpio has in any way diminished what you want, if you've been shaving off all those beautiful points, diamond points that are Scorpio, if you've been, filing down your stinger to accommodate others, I think we got a big problem here. And I'm not talking about stinging them. I'm talking about recalibrating back to your deepest truth and what you want. Because I think God and the angels are holding space for your inner child so that it can be rebirthed. Because I feel as if somewhere, it's so interesting to me how they structure these houses, because, there's power and control associated with the Scorpio energy, and there is sex associated with it. There is the occult associated with it. And there's the dynamic of giving up my power to somebody else, giving them my money so they can manage it and move it around. So where have you given up the deepest parts of yourself, of what you want? And I want you to know they're not dead, just like the caterpillar is not dead. It's transforming. And part of your job is to transform. It's why you came in, especially if you have a Scorpio stellium, because you are being protected as you go through this period of indecision. The other thing I think that's interesting about Scorpio is that when we talk about resources and the commingling of resources, what a vulnerable place we are when we put our resources in the hands of others, when we get stark naked with somebody and interact with them. There's so much vulnerability that's so intense in the Scorpio energy, much more so than in the Libra energy. So I think it's an opportunity for you to really know that you're being protected as you sort this out, as you sit and sort of realize that I may have been endeavoring things that I didn't really want, but I thought would be safe or monetarily secure or other people would approve of. Because in the angel's advice, some disruption, obviously we're always going to think when Uranus is involved and Aquarius is involved that there's unexpected things happen. But I think you're going to start to learn that disruption is actually a way to keep you from attaching yourself to something that is not authentic to you. Because I think ultimately Scorpio is about to birth a new sense of peace for yourself. And I want to offer it this way because I really like I'm just so resistant to the idea of calling every Scorpio, oh, you're a stinger. Ooh, Scorpios are mean. Scorpios, when you know the truth, when you feel the truth, when you see somebody giving you a hand of bull crap, nobody wants that. And Scorpio is just willing, because it deals with other people, to express their opinion very openly. It's like, you've given me permission to do that. Somehow the Scorpio energy gets that. So I feel as if this new moon is going to liberate you in some way. It's going to liberate you from an opinion that you resist, and somewhere you share it. I love Scorpios or eagles. Absolutely, And I feel also that there's going to be some sort of rebirthing of a desire within you and a willingness to walk the path of it. I think that's the way I want to put it. I feel like the butterfly is talking about the process, and the process will ultimately bring me peace and change my life completely. We worry so much sometimes about change because we crave it, and we look out and we go, oh, I wish this would change. I wish this would change. And then, something starts to rumble and we get scared. So when I first quit my job, I had no idea if I could actually make a living at this. None. But at the time I thought, hell, why not try? I had been putting in the work. I knew about the being energy. I had been watching my vibration. Scorpio, it's time for you to watch your vibration and give life to the butterfly. And stop fooling yourself that people that are less than you will satisfy you, or people that are superficial will satisfy you, because they won't. And there's nothing wrong with superficial people. But don't try to put a square peg into a round hole. Okay, on to our Libras. Hey, Stephen, better late than never. So good to see everybody. Look, it's the year 2022. We got 22 people in the room. All right, here we go. On to our Libras, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. That's so funny. Everybody's talking about cleaning their dishes today. I did my dishes before, too. Okay, here we go. Libra. Our first angel is Patience. The second is Chantal. The third is Merlina. And the final is Serena. Thank you for saying my hair looks nice. My hairdresser is just so great. I've never received so many compliments. Okay, here we go. Patience is being joined, Libra, by the Water Fairy. Chantal is being joined by the Fear card. Merlina is being joined by the Hawk. And Serena is being joined by the Restriction card. Okay. So when I look at this, I'm a Libra sun. And the first thing I think is that Libra is somewhere in their brain and needs to get into their emotional body, because the Patience card is really a time to gather information, to observe a situation. And I believe this is about observing your own ability to step into your heart. I know a lot of Libras that say one thing. I know it's going to be fine. I know it's going to be fine. But their emotional body is not saying that. Their emotional body is nervous. And I know it is, because not only are they vibrating on nervous, they're coming to see me, because if they were super confident, they wouldn't come to see me. So I want to offer this for Libra. I think this is an opportunity for you to start to observe your emotional body and how it creates your experiences. Because when I look at Chantal, I could go to romance, but I don't know that I think it's romance. I think it has something to do with falling in love with your fears, because your fears are empowering you. I hate to say it this way, but sometimes that's why I talked about this woman, Erin French, and about this show, The Lost Kitchen, because she experienced so many challenges through her divorce and her own struggles to express herself. And then as she aligned to her truth, she found that it wasn't the situations, it was her that allowed her the permissions to be who and what she wants to be when she grows up. So, because Libra is the sign of partnerships, it's a sign of balance. And so I think sometimes Libra overcompensates, because in the angel's advice is Merlina that talks about confusion, but there's the signs and the omens from the hawk. And I want to say it this way. The signs and the omens are, if everything went smooth, would you really feel as safe as you think you would, Libra? If there's an effortless road in our life to manifesting a dream, I think it's one of the most dangerous things, because we get very vulnerable to never having a problem. If a client's never fired you, if you've never had trouble with, something or other, because it's interesting to me, because I go to Serena and I could go to abundance and money, but I'm not. I'm going to serenity. And I'm going to Libra having trouble feeling serene. And I think it's about paying attention to your emotional body. As a Libra sun, you guys know that I've been battling for 2 months now this little weird thing with Lucky's skin. I conquered so much, but it almost seems like I'm in one of those weird games, where one thing goes down, another thing pops up. So I realize that I've had a lot of resistance in my emotional body to the lessons I'm learning as a result of this skin rash. And what I know is, until I am serene, I will probably experience frustration and restriction in this regard. And I'm not making myself the all-powerful Oz over it. I just have to align to my outcome and then start to allow for the experience, and so that I can feel why fear works for me and how it actually anchors me out of my confusion. I know that sounds pretty crazy, but that's the way it feels to me. All right, let's go on to our Virgos. Josh, I agree with that, because on some level, you're where you're supposed to be, because I think everything is a series of contrasting experiences. Sometimes there's huge contrasting experiences, and sometimes they're just small ones. And I think part of the revolution that the Aquarian age is offering is to be aware of our thought process. And I think that as the structures of old break down, honestly, the way we educate our children, no offense, but history should be an elective. And if it is required, it should have a much stronger intention, because it doesn't serve. We don't need algebra and geometry anymore. We need life skills, We need to know about how to, align our intentions, and then to see our hurdles as the things that actually build our muscle. When you go to the gym, you don't build a muscle because you're going like this. You build the muscle because you break it down, and then it aches for 2 days, and then it builds up again. It's the same thing. Okay, here we go. On to our Virgos, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Our first angel is Merlina. The second is Daniel. The third is Caressa. And the final is Opal. I think it's interesting how Merlina is coming out a lot. I think, I would love to see, because spirituality is such a broad term, Joshua, I would love to see the teachings of Abraham and the laws of attraction, the laws of the universe, as above, so below. I'd love to do a class like that. Maybe I will do a class like that. Put everybody on a physical stretch, because words don't teach, experience teaches. So while I used to do readings for years and years and years, it only seemed like I just knew the people, because I never stepped out into this world of strangers. Then when I stepped out into the world of strangers, I was scared I would be wrong or people would crucify me. And then they didn't. Okay, Virgo, Merlina's being joined by the king. Daniel's being joined by the water fairy. Caressa's being joined by the novice. And Opal's being joined by the death card. I'm going to pull a clarification for Virgo on that last one. There's the partnership card. Interesting. I have a lot of concerns about the Venus-Mars conjunction coming up. And I say that because, I think a lot of people that are on a wobbly platform in their relationships might have a really hard time. But I want to kind of go to a broader thing here, because I don't know if I always think it's the relationship as much as I think it's an attitude and the history that we bring into the relationship. Because when I look at the king and I look at Virgo, because Virgo is pretty practical in the sense of, I don't find a lot of Virgos to be abusers, I just don't. I can't even think of any Virgo that I know that drinks too much or yells a lot. I don't know. When I think about it, actually, I can't think of anybody. But the reason I say this is because I think that Merlina is talking about balance. I'm sorry. Merlina is talking about confusion and indecision. And I think the king is talking about balance. I think it's talking about things that are just. And I think that because Virgo is the house of employment, dependability, that on the shadow side, the perfectionist. So this is an opportunity to be liberated from the idea of being a perfectionist and going into this idea of, I am the naive, the innocent, the knave that is experiencing everything for the first time. And so I want to give life to the idea that, because Daniel's here and Daniel talks about marriage, Daniel talks about partnership, and there's the water fairy. And I feel as if I could totally make this about somebody being in a partnership, and that may be true for some of you, but I really think this is about sort of opening up to a more pure view of what the idea of partnership is. We are all rewriting history, I mean, in the sense of, is a partnership mean that I have to marry you? Is a partnership mean I have to see you all the time? Maybe it's just companionship, maybe it's just having a good conversation. Because in the angel's advice, we have the end of a chapter and a new beginning. And I don't know that I think that all the Virgos in the world want to be partnered up as much as I feel like it's really about, it almost feels like it's just and fair to let go of what has been in the way of your duty and start to open into the journey of this maiden experiencing things for the first time. Okay? Because the way I see it is, I'm seeing Opal as holding space for your inner child when you grew up and became an adult. And now I think maybe your adult should die a little bit, and you should come in partnership with that inner child so that you could start to represent the house of health in a way that really rings true. Happy people bring babies through this world. Happy people don't have illness and they still eat butter. Okay. And I don't want to say everybody. All right. I know, that sounds kind of blanket, but the vibration of happiness is very different. And it's in some ways very insulating from negative experiences. So I feel like for Virgo, to round it up, this new moon that is making a square aspect to Taurus, Uranus and Taurus, gives you an opportunity to liberate yourself from old structures, to start to implement things that are from your heart versus your history. And now it's about giving yourself a connection with spirit as you embark on a new journey of, it could even be something where you're considering retiring, a new chapter if you're of that age, because I really think it's about the enjoyment, the ease, the flow as we let go of the duty and get in alignment with this more childlike fun. That's where I want to go. All right, we're on to our Leos. Hi, Nikki. Welcome to the room. Okay. Good to see everybody. I really want to say this too, because, in some respects, it sounds a little bit like, I talk about these ideas of new beginnings, but we are breaking down all the old, and each one of us has an astrological dynamic that I believe is in support of breaking the old. So as we embark upon the truth of our hearts, we are implementing that balance, and we are part of this new change. And in days of old, we would go get our muskets and we would shoot the bad guy. I don't think today, in this day and age, it's about shooting the bad guy. It's about starting to implement the opposite structures. If you think about a war on anything, a war on drugs, a war on poverty, a war on child abuse, a war on, anything, is a focus on the problem. And that focus inadvertently kicks in the laws of attraction, which brings more awareness to that issue. What if we did the opposite, or at least started? How would that change everything? All right, Leo, here we go. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Archangel Raphael. The second is Ray. The third is Daniel. And the final is Archangel Gabriel. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the novice. Ray is being joined by the partnership card. Daniel's being joined by the cat. And Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the dragon. It's interesting to me because when I look at Leo and I think about Leo, I love Leo for it rules the heart, right? It rules my own creative expression. If indeed you have your sun, moon, ascendant at 12 degrees Aquarius, Leo, you are in relationship with this Aquarius moon. So I want to offer this because I think that Leo is about to embark on something new. And it feels like it's going to start with an epiphany. It feels like the whole world is going to start to go into a dynamic where our efforts create our abundance. Some of us may create services, some of us may create products, and some of us may create new dynamics within our work environments or our industries. But what I think here for Leo is that somehow there's going to be some sort of epiphany that you have, some sort of idea, some sort of realization even that sets you on a new path. And I want to offer it this way because it feels like there are activations going on right now, that we're being activated into these chapters that we wouldn't want to open beforehand. We were not ready. And I feel like now Leo is coming into true leadership and partnership with their power through their connection to spirit as they really start to trust and allow the visions of their heart to come through. Because I feel when I look at the angel's advice, I feel like you're marrying yourself and your ideas and your expression, and you're becoming independent in that way, getting excited about it. And I say all this again, I'm not really feeling the idea of intimate partnership because this ends with Archangel Gabriel. And this is becoming very Geminian to me. It's becoming very much my everyday activities and what I'm doing. And I feel as if there's the potential that Leo could be birthing an idea that has far-reaching tentacles that will evolve with technology, because technology is evolving, and there's going to be some things that are put out into the universe that are going to literally give people new jobs. Like when Yelp was invented, 3 years later, I was able to be self-sufficient. So I think there's something coming up for Leo where you're going to either think of an idea of some kind, and it feels like it's actually like a professional idea where you could make more money or make more abundance through some sort of self-expression. And this just feels like a little bit like, as you do this, it's important to stay in connection with spirit so that they can help you walk through any insecurities you have. The very first time I ever did readings in public, it was a charity event, and I was in a Lululemon store. They put me in like the handicapped dressing room with a table, and I remember not knowing one person, was going to be there. And I was so nervous. And I kept saying in my meditation to spirit, I will say whatever you put into my mind. I will say it and I will trust it, and there will be a good reason for it. Now, don't let me fail. And man, I'll tell you, that was a crazy night, but it was really, really very validating. So again, this connection with spirit, to allow this epiphany, to make Leo be brave in expressing their heart, because there is something coming down the line where I believe you'll have an opportunity to actually make money and liberate yourself from any financial restrictions because you're sharing money with somebody else, or somebody else is a resource for your money. That's where I'm going with that. Okay, here we go. On to our Cancers. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I have to have a sip of my tea. Hold on. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I'm so happy to see you here. Okay. Cancer. Our first angel is Teresa. The second is Archangel Uriel. The third is Sonia. And the final is Yvonne. I'd like to ask, I'll throw this out to you, Stephen. I had a person here the other day, a client, and her chart was in Placidus, and every one of her house cusps was at 29 degrees. Is that possible? Is it possible to not be in the whole sign system and to have every one of your house cusps at 29 degrees? That was just so wild to me. Okay. Cancer. Teresa is being joined by the Love card. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Perception card. Sonia is being joined by the Wasp. Ooh. And Yvonne is being joined by the Wealth card. All right. I'm going to say this straight up. I absolutely think this particular reading is about intimate love. So, Cancer, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Teresa is a card of worry for me. Whenever I look at her, she's got my God-given name spelled the way it is, and she just looks like a worrier. And then I see love, and I feel like my Cancers are worried that love is elusive, that love isn't, either if you're in a relationship, it isn't to the depths that you'd like it to be, or if you're still seeking love, you're getting frustrated with it. And I really want to offer it this way, because Archangel Uriel is working with you on your perception. And I have this, people tend to look at a clock. This much time has gone by. I'm this age. Stop. You really want the quality of the relationship. And I'm going to tell you this too. If you want to have babies, my Cancers, I know that babies are born well into the 40s, some women even in their 50s, and this is also being rewritten. So I believe that Cancer, this is a little bit about not letting this Saturnian energy that is on this new moon grab you and take you down the rabbit's hole of lack. Because in the angel's advice, they're saying that your frustration is blocking, okay? The Wasp is a challenging energy, and Sonia is your team, and your perception is one of, and your focus is starting to get a little bit on the negative side, potentially. Like, I find somebody and it always falls apart, because I think that there's bigger things going on here. And this is the other thing I want to say, because things are changing so dramatically in a professional way in how we do our everyday lives that some jobs are affected in ways that we, can't see. The Cancer person can't really see it in the same way. So it's a time of vulnerability in some respects to your own harmonious wealth, because I want to offer it this way. I need you to be a little bit more intentional about taking the frustration off of what hasn't happened or what is happening that you don't like, and start to allow spirit to illuminate the gift in the situation so that you can feel more connected to the moon's energy versus the crab taking you along the beach, going back and forth and having the water just pull you out to sea. It's been a challenge, as Pluto's been opposing Cancer. It's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy. And you feel so vulnerable because you literally sit holding the whole chart up like this. So, it could feel a little heavy. Okay, what did you guys say about the 29 degrees? Oh, yeah, I was asking if it's possible. Is it possible? Did Stephen answer my question? Let me look here. I think I saw something. I can't read very fast. Yeah. Anyway, I'll have to figure that out. I don't know if it's even possible, but boy, that's the Leo degree, the 29th degree. So I was like, wow. Wow. That's also the very intuitive degree, the 29th degree. It's a very powerful degree. Okay. On to our Geminis, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. $7-11. That's kind of cool, Joshua, if you think about it, because the 29 reduces down to an 11. Seems kind of lucky to me. All right, here we go. Gemini, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Omega. The second is Astera. The third is Indriel. And the final is Merlina. Merlina's making herself known today. I think this deck sometimes is so funny when I look at some of the pictures and the words. They seem so counterintuitive. It's so Aquarius, so Saturn and Uranus. All right, Omega is being joined by the King. Astera is being joined by the Letting Go card. Indriel is being joined by the Raven. And Merlina is being joined by Merlin. Gemini, Gemini, Gemini. Okay, this is the thing. God bless Gemini, but your poor little brain must be so tired right now. I just want to say that, because when I look at this, you're standing in a much stronger position than you realize. And even if things are disruptive, even if you're having challenges, I think the King, this could be about intimate love. But again, I save that for the personal readings. So when we do big readings or group readings, I always think it's more general. So this is fairness, justice, balance. And you have an opportunity to stand in victory of the balance. But a little bit of it is associated with some sort of disruption. Okay, I can feel something is going on with Gemini where this doesn't feel in balance. Maybe this does. But I think it's so that Gemini will actually start to let go of some of those fears, some of the little bit of the Gemini everyday monkey mind, and start to truly reach for the stars with what it is you want. And I want to offer it this way because no matter the subject, but mostly something to do with my everyday activities. There's something to do with how this new moon in Aquarius is going to liberate me from some sort of Saturnian grip where I think I have to do this. I'm going to tell you right now, I worked in a psychic fair for 3 years, and not one of the people that worked there did this for a living and didn't have a side job. So when I got mad one day because this little snarky girl at my job said something one too many times to me, and that straw broke this camel's back, that's when I launched. And when I launched, I realized it wasn't just that Teri was I think Teri's good at her job, but also Teri's super intentional. Teri wasn't giving herself a back door. Teri wasn't thinking, I need a second job. Teri was thinking, how do I do this full time? And that's all I thought about, because I feel like Gemini, there's a reason I'm saying this. It's about time you started allowing the epiphanies that Spirit is bringing to you to really step into the energy, because I don't think Merlina is about confusion anymore. I think Merlina is about magic. I think, how in the world is Merlina about confusion when she rules balance? We see the dolphins in the picture. We see her holding her arms up, creating magic. And now we have Merlin, balance, alchemy, justice. I really think that this is an alignment. I think this is time for you to say to Spirit, if indeed I can attain the job, the dynamic, the financial dynamic that I want, that birthing of whatever Astera is for you, then start to bring evidence into the real world that this is feasible. Start to trigger my thoughts and my things and help me to be brave to step into this vibration. And if for some reason this is about wanting to be in a relationship with another person, stop telling the story where you lose. That's all I'm going to say. If you can't tell a story, stop telling a story at all. All right, here we go. On to our Tauruses. Okay. This square, Uranus is at 10 degrees. My moon is at 9 degrees. I'm like, leave my dog alone, Uranus. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to work in cooperation with these planets and not freak out, because I really believe that Uranus is, I also have Uranus, my natal Uranus is in Leo, and it is making obviously aspects to the Aquarius house. And I really think that that's partially why I view astrology the way I do. That there is something going on in this new moon's energy, that the tension that it's creating is to blow up any sort of old illusions of obligation and duty, and to start to recalibrate that duty into your individuality so that you can invite others to their happiness. You have a Taurus moon as well, Joshua? I like being a Taurus moon. I know I'm a little stubborn sometimes, but I'm very loyal. And I'm very loving. And I'm a little bit of a boss lady, okay? I'll admit it. I got a lot of gas in the tank here. Okay, Taurus. Our first angel is Serena. The second is Archangel Uriel. The third is Athena. And the final is Akasha. Oh, Janine, Taurus moon, 0 degrees. My sister has a 0 degree Taurus moon. Hers is in the 8th house. I don't think she knows that, but I know it. Okay. Serena is being joined, Taurus, by the Water Fairy. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Joy card. Athena is being joined by the Restriction card. And Akasha is being joined by the Truth. So, I got to say this, because the nodal structure right now is going to be, hold on, I'm sorry, interrupt myself. Wow, Stephen, thank you for telling me that. That's very validating. Okay, this is what I want to say for my Tauruses. Taurus rules money, because Venus rules money, and Serena is about money. So I want to offer it this way, because the nodes are in the Taurus Scorpio axis. The North Node is going to traverse and meet with Uranus in no time whatsoever. This is a time to truly start to think about, to start to emote and connect with your guides and angels about the serenity of your abundance. We call Taurus the house of insecurity because it is where we sit and assess our skills and our ability to make money. And so I think there's a liberation about making money, feeling valuable, using our skills. And this is now a time for you to really work on, how do I sit in abundance? How do I receive my bounty? So as my Taurus moon, and this last week, did you guys notice I got my Christmas tree down? Oh my God, I finally got my Christmas down. Oh, it took forever. Everything has taken a long time. And I've been really kind of feeling a little anxious with Uranus. And I thought, what do I want to declare to the universe while I'm walking through this? Because it started to get some momentum. And I'll tell you why when I pull this next set of cards. I said, okay, thank you, angels and God, for letting me allow in all of my happiness. I don't care what it looks like right now. I'm not going to even define what it is, but just let me allow it in, because something in me is feeling so anxious that I'm only concentrating on why am I anxious? Because sometimes anxiety is the actual impetus to a whole new chapter of abundance and of joy and of fulfillment. Because Taurus, Archangel Uriel is telling you to stop, be frustrated, to start to focus in on your joy, on your serenity, just now, only your serenity. It's almost as if don't worry about what your serenity looks like, just start to invite it in, because I think you've been sort of blocking your own business from happening. And I think that's why Uranus is transiting this house right now. It's why it's been hovering in this sort of second decan, end of the first decan of Taurus, because it's really trying to liberate us and asking us over and over again, if indeed, am I standing in my power, or am I restricting myself by my frustration? Or am I going, hey, maybe I can actually feel good, because now Akasha is teaching us the truth. And this is what I want to say. The truth of the idea of Taurus is that no matter the skill, and let me just mention the pool noodle. Okay, that was an idea. It was styrofoam. It took 1 penny probably to make that thing. And the person who made it is a multi-millionaire. It doesn't have to be huge. And sometimes I think Taurus, because Venus rules it, I want to be most beautiful. I want to be the most skilled. I want to be the most da, 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 da. And I get in my own way. I get in my own way by expecting too much or wanting too much and then being stubborn about it. And I feel like it's time to broaden the story right now, to recalibrate it to a place of serenity and inviting in. I allow myself to receive my happiness. I'm not going to shoot it out somewhere, continuing to look, because oftentimes the human will fill one hole and then they'll start looking for the other ones. Oh, I got my job, making money here. So now let me focus on this hole. No, sit over here in the job. That's what I think. Because I think what Akasha is teaching you is that the truth is going to bring your abundance, and your serenity to it will bring more financial, material gain. Okay. Going on to Aries. I know exactly what I was doing 19 years ago, and it blows my mind, because I was moving into this apartment. I had lost everything I own in the move to North Carolina, and this was the result. This is why I think I resonate with that woman, Erin French, because one of the things that she keeps talking about is that each devastation led her to a deeper level of her own truth. With me, it was the same way. I didn't know how I would make money as a spiritual teacher, as an intuitive, as a psychic, as a wannabe astrologer, but I couldn't stop moving this direction, no matter the hills, the valleys. And the more I surrendered to it, the more spirit was able to work in alignment with me and bring me the situations and the people to support that endeavor. And my job was to be a little more like the tortoise than the hare, be willing to go on the journey, because the journey was building my confidence in addition to my clientele. All right. Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. Our first angel is Astera. The second is Seraphina. The third is Merlina. And the final is Ariel. Oh my God, wildflowers. Did you just literally do that? I did that like a few weeks ago with the Starbucks in my bathroom, and I completely ruined my whole shower curtain. Okay, Aries, our first angel, Astera, is being joined by the Wind Fairy. Seraphina is being joined by the Baird. Merlina is being joined by the Lady of the Lake, and Ariel is being joined by the Serpent. You know, when I look at this, hi, Lucy Rose, welcome. You just got here just in the nick of time. You know, when I look at this, Astera says to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and not to compromise. And then I have the Wind Fairy. I feel as if this is kind of like Aries, kind of, it's an interesting energy to me because there's an infusion of intellect in this feeling of Aries wanting to move forward. And I want to offer this because I believe, is Mars, I don't know, I know Mars is exalted in Capricorn, but there's this weird feeling of Mars, even though it gets frustrated sometimes by Saturn's energy, there's a weird cooperation of the two of them coming into alignment, like almost as if Mars is the knight that wants to just charge ahead, and Saturn is kind of Mr. Miyagi, right? And giving him this, teaching him, you know, that to be more mindful and watch for the cues. So this is what I want to say for Aries, because I feel like this is a combination. I just saw the Karate Kid was on TV yesterday. So this is Mr. Miyagi, and this is Daniel. And I feel like Aries is going to start to become a more strategic spiritual warrior. Rather than just shooting into the situation, I feel like this new moon, it has the potential to liberate you in a way where you start to realize, do I want to be happy or do I want to be right? And that was a big challenge I had for a long time because I was right about a lot of things, but it didn't make me very happy. So here we have Merlina and we have the Lady of the Lake. And I really don't think that Merlina is about indecision. I really think that it's about, I see the yin and the yang, I see the dolphins, and I feel like this is somehow about coming into balance with the fight between my head and my heart and holding my truth at the same time. The thing about Aries is that sometimes, you know, in our more frustrated energy, we can sometimes be a little destructive. You know, we don't really want to be destructive, but our frustration gets the best of us, and then our sharp tongue, we know just what to say to kind of burn somebody or stab somebody else. So I think this is starting to use your intellect in a way that's truly aligned to a bigger picture of what you want, so that you can actually feel your truth is being expressed, but it's not actually offending or bristling up against someone else. Because in the final position, I have Ariel talking about new psychic and spiritual experiences, changing the way you view yourself and others. And then I have the Serpent, which is about knowledge and healing and shedding a skin. So I'm going to give you a quick example. Years ago, I did a reading for a woman, and it was torture because through most of the first half of the reading, I kept hearing Spirit tell me this woman badgers her husband. And the word badger is a really intense word. It has a very strong negative vibration. And I didn't want to say the word. You know, it bothered me. I wanted to find something more palatable. And it kept coming through. So what I was feeling was Spirit saying, it's not the word, it's how you use the word, whether she'll be able to resonate with it. You need to use the word. So I said to her, I want to say this to you as lovingly as possible, but your husband's energy is telling me that you badger him. And she said to me, oh my God, he says that all the time. So now, where my fear of saying something negative was actually validating because her husband used that word. Where I'm going is I think that this Aquarius new moon has an opportunity to liberate the Mars energy from expressing itself out of frustration in a sort of cold, blunt way into a way that can be more palatable to the other side And in doing so, you start to create happiness for yourself because you're able to express your truth without feeling like you're detonating the world. I said to a client the other day, I used to hate people and think they'd go away. Oh my God, no. When I was younger, if I hated someone, especially, I worked in Hollywood for many years. And I remember this one guy, he's just brown noser. Okay. And I did not like him for brown nosing. He never did anything. He was always sitting around talking. He seemed like the biggest waste of skin to me. And every year he got invited back on the show. And it drove me crazy. He got invited back because he was a brown noser. And the more I hated him, the more resistance I had to him, the more he was in my face and always around. I learned from that. So this is what I'm saying, Aries. Learn from your stuff. And in this respect, start being the spiritual warrior, the intentional warrior who has the wherewithal to sit back and know that I need to assess the situation before I make my move. And when I make my move, what is my vibration? Do I want to just express my frustration, or do I want to be successful in how that expression comes out and feel proud of it? So that's what I have to say. Don't let this Aquarius new moon scare you. I know there's going to be some crazy stuff that comes out, but as it does, again, this is just an opportunity to liberate us from any old structures that feel as if they were safe, but they were really the golden chain. So here we go. Thanks everybody for liking and for coming to my channel. I'm going to start hopefully doing some new stuff. Going to wait for Mercury Retrograde to go by, but I've got some plans for some fun stuff for you guys. And to really start to broaden our scope and incorporate the teachings of Abraham and the traversing the transits and some other stuff. So thank you so much. If indeed you'd like to book a reading with me, my information is below and you can contact me directly, either through email. And if you're in the United States, you can text me. So happy new moon, everybody, tomorrow. And I'll see you next Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time with more of Angels and Astrology and Traversing the Transit with me, Teri Hunter. Peace out. Bye, everybody.